There's some guy outside stealing your plants!
You brought us alcohol?
Oh, you guys whiskey.
Holy shit.
I think it's one
Some
scotch.
days are better than others.
Yeah, I got a blended
You
scotch
have to
here and
recalibrate this to have it dead on.
some banknote.
Banknote.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's Gus.
1810 was a good year.
So this is our first. This is our first machine gun part, almost finished.
Manufacturing.
It was too
Wolf.
expensive to buy a tripod, so I just bought this little pintle. I think it's called a pintle, or it's whatever it is. It's the thing that receives the bottom of the gun, bolts onto this, and then it's supposed to snap onto a tripod. But we don't have this little angled piece, so we just made it.
The director's making the parts. What the fuck?
So they're locked in. So now we got a quick release.
I didn't have a workshop in my house when I was a kid, so I'm mostly self-taught, and I've always only had hand tools, which you've probably seen if you're watching this show, that like the main tool I use is an angle grinder. It's just a handheld just grinder to shape metal. And, you know, just other basic hand tools, and like the fanciest thing I own is a drill press and a little cheap wire feed welder. So this thing of going out, we have a little bit of money in the budget to go out and actually work with a machinist to have them make these custom parts that actually have like moving hinges and, you know, special stuff. But apparently it's really expensive to have parts machined. So we've gone to every machine shop in our neighborhood, called all the machine shops in Ventura, in Los Angeles. We've talked to friends who know people who do machining, and we even went on Craigslist and like drove out way into the desert to someone's house that has a machine shop in their garage. And everybody has basically been like, this is gonna be real expensive.
It feels like we just keep running up against a wall. Like, we're spending all this time and energy searching out machinists and trying to find the experts to help us build this organ, do the machine work, the welding for the gun. We're trying to figure out how do we shorten the barrel, like all this stuff. We're running around town talking to all these people, and it just feels like we're getting nowhere and we're losing so much time.
There's two parts of the equation, the organ and the machine gun. So the organ has a lot of parts that need to be machined, but they're very basic, and then the machine gun was the one that we were trying to be responsible. People always give me shit because they're like, Evan, what are you doing? You build a flamethrower in your garage, or you did this, you did that, you made your own effects, you're building bombs for the, you know, for like shooting effects plates.
Yeah.
All right, everybody ready? All right, I'm gonna fire it. Fire in the hole. Everybody's okay?
Everyone's cool?
And fire in the bro. That's cool.
Holy.
And all that stuff, I always feel like it's calculated. I feel like I do a pretty good job making sure it's safe as it can be when you're playing with stuff like that. But everybody is always like, Evan, you're gonna blow yourself up. And so this time, because we had a budget, we're gonna find a real gunsmith, and we're gonna find someone that actually knows this gun and can help us modify it and do it somewhat safely. But basically, everyone has now turned us down. The one shop that specializes, well, there's 2 shops, I think I said this in the other one, there's 2 shops that specialize in modifying and renting these machine guns for movies. And the first one had already turned us down a while ago without even really talking to us. They basically just said, screw you, get out of here. And then now the second place that we talked to recently, that seemed like they were getting excited about it, they called Chelsea a couple days ago, and not only said they won't do it, but strongly urged her to talk me out of doing it. Like, at all costs. So they're not being supportive, and they're actually kind of attacking us.
I heard they changed the laws. I have to.
I thought you said if we want to blow
Like,
it
if I want to
up.
order stuff online, I have to order at the gun shop.
We looked at our budget, and it looks like the only option we have is basically to put together our own machine shop out of old used machines that we're going to collect off Craigslist.
At this point, I mean, we do what we always do, which is just do it ourselves.
Oh, that's cool.
The belts, now it's loose, so you can change speeds. Now it's done.
You know, a lot of times, like, our mentality has to be like, we'll figure it out ourselves because, because we never have enough money to do what we want to do. But this feels like an entire new, like, area of expertise because I've never touched a milling machine. I've never touched a lathe. I've never used any of these, like, heavy metalworking machines.
1, 2, 3. Okay, wait. Yeah, that's Jesus.
So I'm like, all right, we're gonna go out and buy all these big, heavy machines, and I guess learn how to use them and hope that we can learn how to use them well enough that we can actually do this stuff ourselves. But it's also exciting because it means we're gonna have a real workshop.
Trying to make this a full machine shop and wood shop. Yeah. So, I mean, because we got those things. So if we get a bandsaw,
A bandsaw and a table saw, and I think we have a chop saw between all of us.
We can save money by doing it ourselves and time and, at this point, energy because we're just spinning our wheels.
I think it shouldn't be that bad if we're all working together. Yeah.
oh no.
These machines are heavy like you actually can't believe. I've never tried to move something that was so heavy that you grab it with all your strength and are like, and it doesn't budge. You know, like the light ones are 400 pounds. So it's taking 5, 6 of us to move these things, and each time we have to get one in or out of the truck, I'm worried someone's gonna like throw their back out or like get their toes chopped off if we like move something wrong. I guess that's why everybody doesn't just set up their own machine shop because it's a huge pain in the ass.
How does having machines and everyone working at my house affect my personal life? It all comes down to scheduling. It hasn't really affected my personal life that much because I've made this my personal life.
A little more. 1, 2, right there. All right, now we can start to drop it, I think. Watch
A little more, maybe.
Yeah,
I guess a little more.
I've never had my own workshop my entire life, so this is exciting. It's still not my workshop, it's Clayton's workshop that I'm squatting in.
I don't regret it. I don't regret having everyone come over. I do regret not coming up with a time for everyone to leave. No, I'm just kidding.
Let out a little bit. All right, we're on the ground.
This has actually been the best thing for me, having everyone here. We don't want to go too far into the personal life things, but I did go through a breakup. And so having the Medusa out in the driveway was something that helped me get through my heartbreak. So it's been great having everyone here. It's been a great distraction, keeping busy. I'm excited to move into the next place, but for right now, everything is all good.
You gotta
Yeah,
keep
baby.
those. You gotta keep these flames.
Yeah,
They're
those are
very,
staying.
very cool. Very, very edgy.
I had to rewire the bandsaw so it runs on house voltage, on 110 volts instead of 220 volts. And so I'm changing out the plug so we can test it, and then we're gonna have to run a new power source just for this bandsaw, but also for the garage in general.
That one's
just a straight goose. Straight loose goose.
Yeah. The only thing is, do we have to bypass all this?
Possibly. But if we do, we should get a breaker for it anyway.
Is it crazy back there?
Chelsea, what's going on?
We're deciding if we're going to rent the whole huge back warehouse space at Norton Sales, which, as you can see, is a crazy
I got 220.
surplus store.
We got 220 there.
Yeah, so we still haven't found a place, a space, our warehouse. I've noticed I always say it's one of the most important things, but I mean it every time. There's just quite a few very important things to getting a movie made. But the space is important because the space is what it gives a place for everybody to go and be like, the movie is happening here. This is the thing. Like if we don't have a space, we're basically going to spend a huge chunk of money renting out a stage in LA somewhere.
Did you see outside?
No. For 2 weeks, and we're just going to have to be like, and just whatever happens, happens. But if we get a space, all of a sudden it becomes a thing, and that's where basically all the stuff that we're the best at, where we build things and play with things and reshoot things over and over until we get something that gets us excited and is going to make the movie better. And we're talking about buying a shipping container and having it converted into a pool. And if we put a shipping container like in here that was a pool for a couple months, does that sound terrifying to you, or is that
It's
just
your spot, man. You guys can do whatever. It's like there's a shower here
Oh, in the front.
in the front.
But then
But it needs work.
It feels like you're building in here to shoot miniatures, to shoot sets, having to do up and down shots, hanging from ropes and chains. Mm-hmm. It's like, doesn't this kind of seem like we've got a freaking, this thing's welded out of I-beams, the frame of this. Yeah. And then if they kept some of those shelves and you've got these beams, that's like, it's gotta be pretty much indestructible right there. I don't know how you would damage it. There's already a winch on it right there to get stuff up here, I imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, an airplane.
We're tackling through the. It's gonna be like this all day and night.
What?
It's always gonna be like this.
Oh yeah.
We don't have very much sound to shoot on this movie.
I just wanted to bring that up because I know
yeah.
I've shot a lot of stuff in the valley and it's always an issue.
Yeah.
Joel knows.
Yep.
Where you're just waiting, like, come on, Ben.
Joel's right here.
Do you hear it? You still hear it, Ben?
Carlos, do you think these are going to be staying or getting recycled or sent away?
Some of us I'm gonna keep just the face.
Oh, okay, of the power supplies?
Panels and stuff, yeah.
Okay. Norton Sales, Carlos's place, is huge, and he's giving it to us for literally half the price that any real estate is going for. And so we're going to pull the trigger on it, assuming he can get that, no joke, 50,000 tons of whatever is in there moved out, which he says he can do in a couple weeks. So if he can do that, then we're taking the place. Because it's a big space, we can use it, and hopefully we're making the right decision.
What do you think, Clay?
Yeah. This is it.
Where are they?
So it looks like we have either 70 or 50 or both. But we could deal with either of those. That'd be fine. As long as we have access, you know, we can use the whole 50 amps or whatever.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
What's going on, Paul?
It's always fun to try and figure out what an actual power situation is at any given shooting location.
So what are you trying to figure out right now?
Okay, see, these are all the breakers. So we want to see what we have access to. And these are all 20 amps. This is a 30 amp, but this is a reasonable amount of power to work with because we have small lights.
What did you find back there?
There's 7 20 amp circuits and one 30 amp, but it's hard to tell exactly where they're going.
That sounds like about.
But they have there's
50
one
and 70.
There's one 3-foot or a three-phase output. This is like to a distro. This is like a quick connect circuit. Like I don't understand. Like this should have a bigger breaker than any of these.
Yeah, I don't understand either.
This could be either that 50 amp one or something like that.
Oh.
Right.
Wait, so Evan,
I'm just looking for a power supply now. What?
call it, dude. We getting this place or what?
We're taking this space because it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So I think we finally have settled on a warehouse. It needs a lot of work. It has to get cleaned out. The bathrooms need to get redone. We're gonna need to build out some offices, figure out internet, and just how we can operate in there. But I think as far as location and the size of the place, like this is gonna be a great spot.
Okay, so we settled on a place. So we don't have to worry about that now. We have a few weeks while Carlos clears all that stuff out of there to get it ready for us. And in the meantime, we're going to get into the builds and start modifying this machine gun.
We're gonna make a new plate that bolts on where this bolted on, and then we're making a new trigger, because the trigger's on the back of the gun, but you're gonna be, you can't reach around back anymore, you run it from the top, so then we're gonna make the new handle and trigger that are gonna bolt on where this bolted on, because obviously you can't use a sight that's down there.
I'm sure, I know some of you guys out there are filmmakers, so you know about this. It's something that we joke around about. We've joked around about since we all started working together, was compromising. And the joke is that we won't. I think it's a joke. Anybody who knows how it is to work on films, if you work with any people who kind of are used to just traditional filmmaking, you'll be like, okay, I want this thing, or I need this scene to happen. And they're like, well, we can't afford it. So how about we just, here's your plastic prop, and we're just gonna put a little flash on the end, and you're done. And you're like, well, that wasn't why I was excited about it, but okay. The easy solution, it's the same thing happening right now, is this crazy machine gun that I'm trying to make this thing that's like, when we fire it with live rounds, it's gonna be like you're literally wrestling a dragon, which is gonna make a crazy visual. And that's what has me excited about it. I'm not excited about just some stupid big gun, like who cares? And the organ's the same thing. So I could easily just do special effects and make some like fake sparks and stuff on the organ, but we wanna have a real instrument that's gonna score the movie that we'll be able to interact with and have it be a real thing that not just some toy that shows up. The easy route would be just to make all this stuff fake, and it seems to be what everybody's telling us we should do. So I don't know where the line is. Obviously, you have to compromise sometimes in everything, like that. People talk about that in creative stuff where you're like, oh, we couldn't get this location and the 1,000 extras, and then all of a sudden we had this idea for a scene that happened in the bathroom and ended up being the best scene in the movie. Like, that's good, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about compromising on the stuff that really matters, not just like something you got stuck in your head. I feel like we're always testing the limits in this, of how far you can go to not compromise on what it is you care about. And I know, like, as life goes on, probably even on this project, we're gonna find out where that line is. Where all of a sudden we're gonna be like, we tried to do that thing. We tried so hard, we wasted a bunch of time, didn't work out, something happened. But at least for me, I feel like you always have to try if you really care. And that means doing crazy stuff sometimes. If there's things like for example, the machine gun, I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but this movie was originally being made in my house with just me, Joel, and Olivia, making a movie for fun over a weekend. And then it kind of sat on a hard drive for a long time and unfinished. And I was like, what is this thing gonna be? And all of a sudden I was driving home one night and I saw this image in my head of someone carrying this giant machine gun that literally makes them slide backwards. It fires so hard and like causes like dust and mist to fly everywhere, and it's like chaos, and killing a giant monster. Which is not the kind of stuff that normally shows up in my movie ideas, but it doesn't matter. It was exciting. And in my head, I was like, oh my God, there's this story about love and honesty and forgiveness that involves that scene. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's the movie. These characters go to hell, and it's going to be legitimate, insane, craziest version of hell you've ever seen if we do our job right. So that seed of an idea coming from this machine gun that I don't know where it came from when I was driving home one night, like that seems like that's important. I don't need to know why that symbol is important. I could speculate all day about all the obvious things it represents in the different parts in the movie, but I just know that that was a seed for the entire reason why we went out to raise money for this movie. So if that thing kills me or it doesn't kill me, no matter what it takes, I'm going to build this machine gun, and I'm going to fire it full automatic, strapped to my body, to try and get this very special shot that's been stuck in my head since I had an idea for what this movie could be.